And it's recording.
Oh. Hail, champions and Loktar mis amigos. You are tuned in to the inaugural episode of Ding 60, a classic World of Warcraft podcast. I'm Will, a.k.a. Hibachi, a.k.a. Bachi, a.k.a. Evade, rest in peace. A.k.a. I'm actually not sure what my character's name is going to be, but more on that later. I will be your hostess with the most definite lack of experience today. And joining me are three of my best friends from both Azeroth and Earth. We've got Chris, Blake, and Nate. Guys, if you would like to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Chris, aka Vipercast, aka Cynic, aka I guess I'm playing a rogue named Mayhem this time around. And yeah, I don't know how much we want to say.
The life story. What is up? My name is Blake, and I also don't really know what handle I'm going by. I think I'm rolling a human warrior named Rage. So that works
Excellent.
for me.
Excellent.
And I'm Nate Berna, and I guess I've gone by Kodiak, Casual Dad Smile. I'm not sure what I'm rolling with for Classic, either Sound or what was the other one? Exile, but we'll see.
Nate gave the full name, so
Find him on Facebook.
Yeah, just
Can we bleep that out?
it actually, it shows it on
Yeah, I know. It's all
Zoom,
that.
so
But so yeah, we're just four friends who are super hyped for Classic, which only 2 days away, 48 hours to go. And I guess mission statement for this podcast is that just an excuse to get together with my friends, every week or how frequently we're going to do it, and just kind of try to recapture that magic that we once had with Classic. We all used to play together, 15 years ago as well. And for me personally, I just thought that this would be a cool way to kind of chronicle this next adventure and kind of have like a time capsule to look back on maybe 15 years from now. So that was the general idea, just us four basically talking about Classic. And then maybe ultimately, once things get going, kind of talking about the goings on of our server, the drama, the guilds, the ninja looters, et cetera, et cetera. And so we thought that'd be something we'd be interested in listening to. So maybe there are other people that are as well. But at the end of the day, this was more just kind of for us. But, we'll see how it goes. So, does anybody have anything to add to that?
we've settled on Scarum, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Reluctantly.
Yeah, it's taking a few servers, but we got there.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so if you are rolling on Scarum, hope to see you in the battlegrounds or something.
Or I guess in the battlegrounds, we can see you on other servers, right?
Hey, can we call this
yeah.
the official podcast of Scarum?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Scarum endorsed.
We can go see it. But to get things kicked off here, I figured we could kind of talk about our original Classic experience, so we were like, what, 15, 16 years old when it first came out?
Oh man, yeah.
Having
This
our
is
minds
the-
blown, right?
I
Crazy.
just learned how to drive.
Yeah.
And my first order of business was to go pick up Classic from GameStop.
Yeah. Collector's
Guess it
edition,
wasn't-
baby.
It wasn't called Classic back then. It was just World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the pride of getting my collector's edition, and
Oh yeah.
and like anxiousness too, because I really wanted the collector's edition, but I didn't know if I'd be able to get it. I think actually, Nate, I went to EB Games like in the mall or something, because like the GameStop or somewhere that I went didn't have it.
Yeah. I remember there's the same story. GameStop was sold out, and then I went to Best Buy in like desperation, and they just happened to have one copy left of the collector's edition.
I feel like I pre-ordered it, but if you guys didn't, then I probably didn't. Was that not a thing?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't remember honestly.
Yeah, I guess I don't either.
Did you guys all start playing like right on launch day, basically, or right around there?
I think so.
I was 2 weeks after you guys started, or a week after you guys started.
Did we have to rope you in, Chris? I don't remember.
Kinda. You guys told me
Yeah.
about it. You guys were like, "Hey, come check out this game," and it was really funny because I have the story about making my character, and I was talking to Will at the same time, and I was like, "So, what character should I make?" And he's like, "Make whatever you want." And I was like, "All right, cool. Well, what character are you?" And he's like, "I'm a Tauren shaman." And I was like, "Cool. What's Blake playing?" He goes, "He's a Tauren shaman." I was like, "Okay, so I guess I'm gonna be a Tauren shaman." So yeah, we all rolled Tauren shaman, all three of us. Like, out of
Yeah.
8 classes to pick, we all picked the exact same race and class. It was pretty fun.
Well, I don't remember what well, let me back up a bit. I was gonna say it was either you, Nate, or you, Blake, that told me about WoW. I remember at the time, like the game I'd been like most addicted to in my entire life was Diablo 2, and like loved that game. And then one of you two told me about WoW, and it's like, yeah, it's from those same people, and it's like D2, but like to an order of the next magnitude in like terms of scale and and I don't know, but that sold me in and of itself. And like since then I was just like super wanted to play this game, and I remember couldn't get in the betas. I don't know why, but I just didn't make it. I wasn't aware enough early enough. But stress test, that was like my first toe in the water for WoW. And I remember I made a human warrior, and I still have like this vivid like memory of like walking out of Northshire. Is that or is it Goldshire?
Yeah. No, yeah, Northshire. Yeah.
And just like running around and just like having my mind blown by like just your scale
Yeah.
of what's happening. I was like, wait, like this is just like a drop in the ocean compared to like the entire game. Like this map where I am is just a starting area. And I don't know, I'll just never forget that.
It's strange how WoW, and so yeah, I remember the stress test. I remember us playing that and making it all the way to like Lochmodan or something. And I remember coming home from school and like instantly getting on and playing it and like just no lifing it big time.
Oh, dude, of course.
But it's crazy how like the launch of WoW somehow, because there were other MMOs. I mean, EverQuest had been around, but it's crazy how the launch of WoW Classic or original WoW was so just explosive.
Yeah.
It's because
Yeah.
I mean, I truly believe that Blizzard at least used to be a company that would just polish every single square inch of their games. Like they, D2, like you said, that was like my first, big game that I got into. And I'm assuming we played that together, because it would be kind of strange if we
I'm
didn't.
sure.
Because it was around the same time, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was hooked on D2, and we switched over. And so like, I don't know, like playing WoW, it felt like a fully polished world that we had never experienced before. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, thinking back to like when it was 2004 when it came out, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Like, I don't think there had been any game even remotely close to that much of like a seamless, just giant game map. And it still hasn't really been surpassed, honestly.
Yeah. But so thinking back to that, so as Chris mentioned, I inevitably ended up rolling a Tauren shaman, but I didn't do that from the jump. I made like 2 or 3 characters before that, and I don't remember them at all. And I got to maybe like level 10 max, and I kept being like, I'd see somebody else and be like, oh man, that looks super cool. And so I'd switch. And then I ultimately found myself a shaman who at the time, and I guess they still kind of are just kind of like jack of all trades, master of none. And so like I could do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I just thought Taurens were badass. So that's why I went with them. But yeah, so Grin was my first main level 60 Tauren shaman. And I picked that name because from D2, my favorite thing to do in that was dueling in PvP. And I forget what the exact like message was, but whenever you beat somebody, it was like, you have been slain by whatever. And of course 16-year-old 15-year-old me thought like, man, it would be awesome if it was like, you have been slain by happiness, or like you have been slain by joy. And I was like, oh, okay. So I kept trying all those names, and they're all taken like Grin, because it's like a smile. So that's how I came up with that. But what were y'all's first mains back in the day?
I guess you guys should go first. Y'all made your characters first.
My first serious main was a troll hunter named Radu.
I do.
I think I tried ragu at first, like the tomato paste, and then I thought Radu kind of sounded more like a troll name in my 16-year-old brain.
Hey, I can
And
see
I remember that so vividly because I got my first pet in Durotar and named it Slash because it was a Velociraptor, and just that feeling of going from the starting zone and then getting my own pet, it was like unlike anything I had ever experienced in a video game before. And you guys, I think by that point were already like level 30, 35, something like that. So I had Will's problem of like restarting every, 15 levels with a new character to the nth degree. Like I think I did that by the time you guys already had all your Tauren Shaman up to like level 30 or 40. And I was still like level 20 with my Troll Hunter.
So just like today's,
Nothing's changed.
Yep.
we call Nate an alcoholic because he can't help but roll another character. So I think I always think of like my original first character was on Veda, and it was a paladin. And paladins back then were so different than how they are now, because like you would, instead of having like a seal that you'd apply, actually I don't even know how they operate now, but you would self buff yourself basically, and that would give you and I think even like you had certain actions instead of even buffs. But whenever they basically revamped the class, I thought, well, I think we had decided we were going to roll Horde, and so I was like, well, what's the paladin version of Horde? And I just remember Shaman was just like Paladin was exclusive to Alliance, Shaman was exclusive to Horde, and so I thought, yeah, I'll try this out and see how it is. And so I rolled my Tauren Shaman. I guess maybe we did Tauren so we could play together possibly. And I named him Dialock. I don't know where that name comes from now in hindsight, but I was like, yeah, Dialock. And took him all the way to 60 and mained him all the way until Burning Crusade.
At least it was a cooler name than mine.
What was your name?
So yeah, funny at the character selection screen when I was picking, and I asked Will, I said, "So what's Blake picking?" Or what is Blake? He was like, "He's also Tauren Shaman." And I was like, "I guess my 16-year-old self had no I don't know the word for it, but no originality. I didn't want to do something different if I felt like you guys were doing something that was like overpowered or way too good, for me to miss out on, right?" And I also knew about Shaman being exclusive to Horde, and we were playing Horde, so I was like, that's cool. So I made a Tauren Shaman, and I made my character a little late, so all the really short, cool names I felt were taken. And I had this obsession with the Dodge Viper, the car, and I wanted my name to be Viper, I guess, when I was 16, whatever. And I think I even asked Will, or I was reading the description of what shamans do or whatever, and I was like, I can't think of a name, and I'm not going to just sit here forever and try and come up with a name. So I just started adding words to Viper, and I started adding things that shaman do to the end of Viper, and I ended with Vipercast. And when it took the name, I said, all right, well, I guess that's my name now. So Vipercast became the name. Later High Warlord Vipercast. We'll get there. That's a spoiler.
Yeah, we'll get there. How could we not?
Did you three take those shamans into Burning Crusade, or did you do different characters for Burning Crusade?
Right before Nax 40, I switched to Alliance, and I was a Gnome Rogue. So, but I was a Tauren Shaman all the way up until the last instance of Classic.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think I don't remember if we did this at Burning Crusade launch or right before. Nate, it sounds like someone just died on your microphone, by the way.
That's why it's fighting.
It's not on.
But so we had switched from Laughing Skull, which is where Leroy Jenkins originated from.
I have killed him in PvP.
Yeah, same.
No big deal.
I camped him in Dire Maul. Never forget. So we switched to Dalvinger. We rolled Alliance, and suddenly we were like, "Oh my gosh, this Onyxia attunement is so easy compared to Horde."
Oh yeah.
But it was right around when Burning Crusade was going to come out, and I think it must have been before actually, because we had the dragons, the Emerald Dragons that we were rating.
definitely before, because I remember like a long tenure of like doing BWL and stuff as Alliance, but I don't remember
That's
when
right.
we switched or why we switched.
I think we were just bored.
Yeah, just wanted to try something new.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we got separated in the world of Azeroth.
We did.
I think that was a period where I just had stopped playing completely while you guys, because I never made it to end game, and you guys had played. I don't know if you played the whole time between Burning Crusade and Vanilla launch, but I had like completely missed all of that.
Did you make it to 60?
No, I never made it to 60 in Vanilla.
Oh wow.
You
Yeah,
better
so-
make it this time, bro.
Oh wow.
We got some
Yeah.
stuff to show
All
you.
right, so what level are we betting on, Nate? Getting
Nate and I
burned
made an actual bet. So
out? Oh, okay.
Yeah, what were remind me of the terms?
the terms are if you make it to 60 without making any alts, obviously, or anything, then I am buying him dinner. And if he makes an alt 60, he has to buy me dinner.
All right.
So there's something in it for him now.
Yeah.
I feel like that might steer him for free dinner.
Steer him sounds like skeer him, and that's where you can find us.
That's where you can find us.
Always plug.
So
But while we're on the subject of when we made our characters, I have another vivid memory of when you made your character, Chris. I don't know if you remember this, but you made your Torn Shaman, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come visit him, because like that was still like the coolest part of WoW to me. Like is like back to D2 is that you could only have I think 8 people, maybe 6, in like a game.
Yeah.
You guys know?
Yeah.
And so WoW, it was like, yeah, you can have thousands of people all in the same quote unquote game, and like if you wanted like everyone on the server could like go to one place, and you'd be able to like see everybody, and might crash the server or whatever. But just like the possibility of that was super cool. So I was like, my friend Chris is making a character. Like I'm gonna waltz on over to Mulgore and like be there when he like is created. And so I remember I had just gotten my mount. And so, like, that was basically the reason I wanted to flex on the mount and show him about the photo I had.
Yeah, pretty sure it blew me away to the point where I was addicted after that. I was like, I've got to get my Kodo now. Like,
oh, wow. So we were level 40 then.
Yeah.
Oh, so then, yeah.
It's been a little bit.
It wasn't 2 weeks then, I guess. I felt like the first time I heard y'all mention it was only like a couple weeks before I actually started playing. So y'all must have, I mean, if y'all were playing in the beta and the stress test and all that, y'all had been playing well before I started playing then. Because if you had time to get 40 and get enough money for your mount, that's.
But yeah, I remember.
No wonder all the cool names were taken.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I was rocking like my full SM Herod's shoulder, like the helm, the healing mace.
Yeah, the Herod's shoulder. Yes.
Scarlet Monastery symbol on it. That's like still like to this day like brings me the most joy is like that set of gear, like because my other class that I played was a warrior, so like basically all those same pieces I got on that character too. And I don't know, I just love Scarlet Monastery.
Yeah, that was a really incredible dungeon too, and it was designed so well too. And I remember when you finally down Darien and you're working on what's her name?
Mograine? Or
Whitemane.
Whitemane. Yeah. And then she says, arise champion, and he comes back to life, and you're just like, oh, White. And it was just cool that it was like 4 instances in. Is it 4 or is it just 2? There's like 4 wounds.
Technically 4. There's like the graveyard, then there's like two parts of it, and what's in there, one to the right too that you can go to?
There's the library, the graveyard, the interrogation cathedral, and then there's the armory with Herod. So there's 4.
Yeah.
And then the secret boss too. I always thought that was cool. I remember the first time like somebody showed the group I was in that, and I was like, "What? You pull this like torch sconch and another boss in here?"
I think that's the original Fairbanks, maybe. Yeah. I can't remember.
That's right. Man. So we kind of talked about our first mains and stuff, and we kind of are dipping into this anyway, but I was just going to ask all you guys, like, what is your like most vivid, and or these could be separate things, but like favorite memory you have of, classic back in the day, limited to just, like before Burning Crusade?
Yeah. One of my first and most vivid memories was from the stress test. Actually, I think I had just barely made it to Westfall, and I think Blake rolled up and was there and was like level 12, and I was like, whoa, you're level 12, like that's incredible. And then a group of like level 15 players came by, and it was kind of similar to the way you feel when you're like in like
Middle school
first grade, and you see like a high schooler and you're like, oh my gosh, they're adults.
Yeah.
And I just will never forget like just chilling in Westfall with Blake. And then I think it was like right when the stress test ended, or like the servers crashed or something like that. So that was kind of the end of the stress test for me. And it was right when I saw my first level 15 character.
Yeah, for me, it would be, I have two really distinct memories. Well, I remember like big moments, you know, like killing Ragnaros, right? But I remember the first time we did Molten Core, and I was Resto Shaman, and we literally spent all day. It was like a Saturday. It was the entire day, and we could not kill Lucifron. It was just pull after pull after pull, and just could not do it. It was just miserable. So I never forgot that. And then similar to that, my other like most fond memory is when also in stress test, or maybe it was in beta. So back then, Dead Mines, literally every mob was elite, all of them, even like the little miners. And so I was in this group, and we started at like maybe 9 o'clock at night, and it was so freaking hard. And we finally made it to the boat. Didn't even get to Van Cleef at the top, but got to like maybe the second level of that ship, and ended up wiping. And by then, literally the entire dungeon had respawned.
Oof.
Oh, no.
And so, because it wasn't like you kill it and it's dead for good, like it could respawn after a few hours.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And so the whole dungeon respawned, and we were just like, it was like 7 a.m. I mean, it was so late. And so I was like, this sucked. And then I went to bed and like slept the whole next day.
Man, I completely forgot about like just that dread that you'd feel every time you'd wipe. If it had been a while, you'd be like, please don't let everything have respawned. Like, let us get back to
like,
that boss.
like in MC too, like all the trash mobs in MC.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Like the core hounds responding.
Oh man.
But that was kind of cool. That was a cool mechanic though in Molten Core, where if you down the boss, then that mob wouldn't respawn.
Right. That was cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Like everything leading up to that boss would be kind of cut off.
Well, like if you killed Golemag, then the big giants would never respawn. If you killed whatever the boss was that was the big core hound, then the core hounds wouldn't respawn. Not Golemag. Whoever's the big giant guy who has the 2 dogs.
I think it is Golmag, isn't it?
Is that Golemag? Oh, I'm confusing him with. I thought I was confusing him with the big rock guy.
Gar.
Yeah.
I remember
there's Barangeddon, Gar, Gehennis, Golmag, Major Domo. Who's the very first boss? Lucifron.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the dog's name. The core hound.
Shazra.
I can't.
Yeah, Shazra. Right.
What was his name?
So many bosses in that instance.
And having played so much Hearthstone is really going to help me out, because these are all names familiar to me as Hearthstone cards.
Nice.
So I guess
WoW was based on Hearthstone, actually.
What about you, Chris?
Well, okay, so my fondest memories are very different from y'all's. I got hooked on WoW pretty hard, and I decided when they released the honor system that I was going to grind for rank 14, which on the Horde side is High Warlord. And if anyone's tried this or knows anything about it, it basically is it's more than a full-time job. It came down back in that day. If you wanted it and you wanted it in any reasonable amount of time, you had to get the most honor on the server every single week, to get it the fastest. And even that was really slow. So I actually, my fondest memory is I made an honor farming group, a Arathi Basin honor farming group for pretty much anybody who wanted to join my team. And we just kind of dominated all day long, 16 hours a day sometimes. It was crazy. It was insane. And I'm talking like 16 hours a day, like, oh man, I'm ashamed to say it, multiple weeks, months I hope my teachers don't see this. I was, skipping classes. I was hooked, and I wanted this so badly.
How many years off your life do you think you lost
A couple,
that.
at least a couple. But definitely, probably attributed to some of my back problems as I've gotten older too. But no, I that was a really fun time because everybody knew who I was on the server. Everybody like who wanted to be in even anywhere close to getting High Warlord in the next few months needed to be part of my group multiple hours a day to even have a chance. It was really fun because I kind of controlled the whole thing, and you had to do that because if you really did have people who were like trying to beat each other week to week after week, it would push you back 2-3 weeks of grinding these 16-hour days, 7 days a week, kind of schedules. It was ridiculous back then. And so, yeah, it might not be my most proud moment, but it's definitely one of my fondest moments of WoW. And then the other one, not to take too much time on me, but the other one was obviously I got recruited into this guild that was up and coming, known as Deus Vox or Deuce Vox. I don't know how you pronounce it actually, which is sad for how long I was in it. But they recruited me and they power leveled me on Alliance, which is fun because I actually, now that we're playing Alliance again, I get to kind of actually level the correct way through Alliance. They leveled me through some kind of bug where I tagged the mobs in Blackrock Mountain somewhere and they would kill them and I'd get the full amount of the experience. It was just some kind of like little way you could cheese leveling people up real fast. And so they power leveled me to 60 real quick. Like right before Nax 40 came out, they geared me out as fast as possible. I wasn't even like level 60 and they were bringing me to like Blackwing Lair and MC and just gearing my rogue out as much as possible. But I actually remember we were playing Nax 40 and our servers got announced that they were going to go down for 36 hours. So we just had to make a decision whether we were going to go for World First Kel'Thuzad or we were going to go for World Third Kel'Thuzad or World First Lothab. And so we decided to go for Lothab because we thought World First sounded cooler, of course. And we got it. It was amazing. The whole guild is a group of amazing people. And because of joining that guild, I have some of my other extremely close friends now. So I have a lot to thank for WoW Classic because I met a lot of great people. I never in a million years would have thought that like the guys I raided Nax 40 with would have later gone on to be some of my closest friends, but it's really cool how all that turned out. So those are my fondest memories were the friends I made, the High Warlord grind, and the World First Lothab.
And the education
awesome.
you left behind.
I never knew you got a World First. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it was insane. We actually did go on to get the World Third Kel'Thuzad after
that's cool.
Death and Taxes and Hillam. So it was really fun. Not a lot of guilds completed Nax 40. Very few actually, I think, in the world.
So you had not even, we're not even talking server first. You're saying like
World
NA
first.
And EU.
Yeah, so
you were in a pretty hardcore guild. Yeah,
we were. We had a lot of people who were just as devoted as I was to making the guild succeed. I mean, I have a lot of shout outs I could give out, I guess, in case they ever watch this. But a lot of people who played the auction house all day, every day to make sure the guild had enough money to buy all the potions and all
gosh.
It was just, I mean, our guild was in it to win it. Like we were just, we wanted to do it and we did, like a lot of our guild even ended up not only clearing the instance, but like I had 9 of 9 tier 3. A lot of other people had that too. All the weapons off of Kel'Thuzad, we had plenty of those. Like, not only did we finish it before vanilla was over, we were able to like farm it too and actually get all that gear. So it was a lot of fun. I'll never forget the learning those fights, like 4 horsemen, and I mean Kel'Thuzad, Saffron,
Corrupted Ashbringer.
Yeah. It was
so bad.
It was a really fun time. It took a few years off my life. I'll tell you that right now.
Worth it.
We're
about to do it again.
That actually brings up some interesting points about Classic because we're starting at patch 1.12, right?
Yes, sir.
So like in vanilla, what was the time frame between when vanilla launched and Nax came out? Like how long was that time period? Like 2 years, something like that?
Yeah, because when did BC come out? How long had it been since WoW?
Let's see.
I was about to do it too, but so you don't hear a bunch of clicking and clacking, I'll
Burning Crusade came out almost 3 years after Classic.
So then Nax was basically almost 3 years, right? Because
it wasn't out long. Like
yeah.
Before they announced Burning Crusade.
Which makes sense because I knew like the timing wasn't adding up in my head. Like, because I felt like we played that Horde and on Laughing Skull as our foreign shaman crew for like a long time. But then I also feel like I have a lot of memories being Alliance, but like they're both vanilla. But I mean, I guess if there were 3 years, I maybe even did like a year and a half on each.
Yeah. So like when Nax comes out in Classic, that's obviously not going to be 3 years later. So the time frame and like kind of the time it takes to get to Nax in vanilla is it going to be just as hard in Classic as it was for Chris,
like
12 years ago, or
like just as hard to clear it? Probably not, because all the mechanics of the fight are all written out for people to learn before they even step foot into it. Like all the strategies have been mapped out. Like we were doing it before anyone else knew how to do it. So it was just way harder, and it always will be until they release new content.
Because it's a solved equation now, right? And plus, like just as a whole, people are so much better at like WoW.
We have 17 years of WoW now.
Yeah. And like even just the technology is so much better. Like you're not having people on like terrible internet connection.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And, like you have way better voice chat and
yeah.
What's the server info again?
I bet people will clear it as the first week it comes out, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I don't even know
like
how
people are not that MC is anywhere near the level as difficulty as Nax was, but people think they're gonna literally clear Ragnaros week 1 when this launches in 2 days.
I think it's not. I don't think it's going to happen.
Mind.
I don't think it's possible.
The rep grind is the hardest part of that, right? Don't you have to have one person?
Yeah,
Hydroxian. Revered? Like 3 people.
Oh yeah, to also all the runes.
All the runes, yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, they must have something up their sleeve with how they're going to do that, right? Guilds that are just as guilds that were just as hardcore as mine back in the day. They're probably ready to do stuff like that.
Oh, I mean, bro, there's got to be like insane amounts of coordination going on, because like not only like people want to be the first one to do it, right? And so there's that aspect, and then there's also the race 260, which
so I have a quick question. Do you guys know if now I know they're trying to make it exactly like Classic or exactly like it was back in the day, but like so like server first achievements, those achievements that they is that going to be added at all? Like are they gonna like spice up that aspect of it so that there's
not going to be an achievement system like there is in retail, because there wasn't one back then, but I'm pretty sure that like there might I don't know, I think there's maybe some way to recognize whoever actually gets it, but I don't know how,
because I know they went back and added like legacy achievements for some people that completed stuff in Classic, and so I didn't know if maybe, because I like that, I don't think that would be an addition to Classic that anyone would be opposed to, right? Like just
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about like
the achievement
system. The achievement system itself, but like I wouldn't be mad if they had some way to implement like, oh, this was the server first Warlock, or server first 60 in general.
Because now they do like server first human, server first gnome, server first warlocks, class or race, and so there's a lot of achievements you can get if you're trying to race to be the first something, or first one to get max level first aid or something. It was
unarmed, dude.
Yeah, at first, oh my gosh. I remember leveling up my unarmed skill in Winter Spring for my rogue. Because they power leveled me so fast, I was like behind in a lot of like skill points and stuff, and I had to like go back and do stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this to one of you guys already, but like there's like the race to just 60 itself is like a huge thing in like the subset of like the speedrunning WoW category. So like there's a ton of people that are doing it, like super hardcore prep, of course. And just one thing I was thinking about, it would suck to be one of those guys and then just like you get stuck in a server queue, you lose. You know what I mean? Like I wonder what they're doing to like try to make sure that like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think since it takes so long, I mean, I bet people who have multiple people that are going to trade off, and so that whenever, because like the number one thing is sleep. Like you're going to have to sleep at some point. You can't do it all in one sitting, I don't think, unless, I mean, I might be wrong there. Maybe you can, but I don't think it's healthy, and I don't think people should try it. It's going to take a long time, I feel like. So those people who have 2 people that are going to play their account, are they going to be the first 160? I bet.
Yeah, I wonder who it'll be. I know there's a few different methods going around. Apparently, I don't know if this is like confirmed, but apparently like dungeons are giving more XP than people thought or something. So people think that that might be the fastest way to level as opposed to like AoE grinding or opposed to just like AoE grinding, meaning like what mages and stuff do. And like you have a group of people all kill a bunch of mobs. So I think there's like that school of thought. There's the dungeon school of thought. And then there's just like a straight like solo person kind of like questing and grinding like a hunter or something, just like as efficient as possible. So I wonder like what's going to win.
I don't think the dungeon method is going to work because you don't have dungeon finder. You have to physically go. So then you would have to run the same one over and over again. And the mobs, I mean, then again, we played on a private server, but when we were on a private server, the mobs are pretty beefy. But maybe on, this version of Classic, they'll be easy to down. I don't know.
Did you see that screenshot I posted like a week or so ago about the difference? It was so we played on a vanilla server, just kind of scratched the itch of wanting to play Classic, and it's just was so hard. Like I remember retail was kind of a cakewalk compared to Classic, but it'd been 15 years, so I don't like really remember the experience. But like, and I rolled a warrior, which is like the hardest class to level if you don't have a group, and I died triple digit numbers easily.
Yeah,
you pulled more than one mob, you were dead. And the respawns are so quick, and there's lots of densely populated areas like with murlocs or like if you're going into one of those mines. Anyway, I digress. But so it was really, really hard. But I saw this post that was saying that like apparently a lot of private servers are really overtuned, and this guy had a screenshot of Scarlet Monastery mob damage in the beta for WoW Classic versus like the same mobs in a private server, and it was literally over twice as much. So I'm interested to see like if I can, like me personally, even be like, oh, this is way easier than like what the private server felt like.
Yeah, it did feel just on the brief like stress test weekend or whatever, it felt pretty breezy compared to a private server.
Yeah.
Like I remember when we tried, I don't know, last summer, and we could barely get past those like Murlocs and Owen Forest as a group of 3.
Those were brutal, man.
Yeah, and I don't think that'll be quite as bad on when this comes out, but we'll see.
It looks like the fastest time to 60 is 3 days, 9 hours played. So,
wow.
I don't think you're going to get 40 people who are also rep grinded and ready to go for RAG that first week. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, seems insane, but like,
yeah, how do you even gear up that fast?
So.
I'm sure people have mapped out like how many materials they need to farm to make all of like the leather working and and the blacksmithing patterns and all that, and so they'll gear out as well as they can, with all the surefire methods of getting gear first, and then hope they get some easy drops in the higher level dungeons, I guess.
And I think world first will be Alliance too, because Paladin's better than Shaman in raiding, and the attunements are, I think so, yeah. At least the Onyxia attunement, it wouldn't matter for Molten Core, but attunements in general, that attunement is easier for Alliance.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to get gear faster.
Do we know anything about the population difference between Horde and Alliance on our server?
I haven't seen anything on Skyrim yet.
I saw there was a poll on Stalag when we were back there, so I hope they do something like that.
Pretty much every other server I've looked at, which I haven't looked at any PvE servers or anything. So I'm talking just East Coast PvP servers. Horde has been favored on all of them, which is unfortunate. It's because Horde has better PvP racials. So, but just hopefully it's not too skewed, because that would just be the worst.
What are the Horde racials that make them so much better?
It's really Will of the Forsaken.
Yeah, that's the biggest one.
The big one.
And then the orc stun resistance as well is pretty big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Matoran War Stomp is great. I mean, and then having more health too. I think they have some more stamina.
Yeah. I think they have 5% more or something.
Yeah.
Dude, if they come out with Burning Crusade and they have the Blood Elf Arcane Torrent, what was it? Didn't it silence in Dispel or something?
Silence.
Yeah. It would silence and dispel things, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. I was not around for that time period.
They actually I feel like just this last or 2 expansions ago changed that. Like,
Yeah, they nerfed it.
Yeah, it was like that for a long time because I rolled Blood Elf as soon as that came out. I changed my rogue from gnome to Blood Elf like so fast.
Did they have race changes back in the game?
No, not
Like
in vanilla.
back then, or did you just have to straight up re-roll?
They did a
in Burning Crusade, I think that's when they released that kind of stuff. Yeah, but not in vanilla.
Well, Blake, earlier you were talking about wiping over and over again, like on Major Domo or something like that.
We wiped on like everything.
Lucifron.
Yeah, Lucifron.
Yeah, and it brought up an interesting point for Classic for me, where like in retail right now, if you are struggling with the boss, you can obviously just like grind like mana pearls or something like that and upgrade your gear slightly, and or like farm mythic dungeons and get like your weekly chest. But and if you want to like gear up in vanilla, it's not just something you can just, you know, spend some time grinding out like a small upgrade. Like you have to go find a good item from a dungeon or something like that. So like the whole process of gearing up to get past the boss is way more intensive than it is now.
Yeah, and I think that's why Classic in a lot of ways feels better than retail, in that every piece of acquisition feels very meaningful. Like I don't remember any of the classic items, but like I think there was like a cape off of Baron Rivendare and Stratholme, and like when you got it, it was like, oh my gosh, I got this cape, it's insane.
Yeah.
And everyone had like their chase items, you know. And now in retail WoW, it's if anything, it's just frustrating because it's, I guess they revamped this, but when me and Chris and I were playing retail, it was like, oh, I got the wrong affixes on my armor for my Heart of Azeroth, and it's like, well, that's wasted. And it's just gear everywhere too. So
yeah, and I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I will say that I haven't leveled a lot, you know, in retail or at all. I've always played like just end game stuff. So like, but I have tried it a little bit, and I say that they did make it so that you got better rewards faster, like just by all different means. Like things could like Titan Forge or War Forge off of a level 10 quest, you know, or something, right? And you could just have these awesome pair of boots all of a sudden, but it would just be because of random RNG. Whereas back in Classic, we just, you know, we might not see that loot even drop for 2 weeks or however many times we farmed it or whatever, you know.
Speaking of that, I remember I can't remember the boss who has like the little priests minions that you have to kill, and you ignore him basically, and then you finally kill him after his healers are dead, basically. Not Major Domo, right before Major Domo.
Shazra or Gehennis?
Maybe it's Gehennis. I can't remember.
I think it is Major Domo. He's the one that has like the 8 mobs, and some of them are healers.
But then there's a version
right before that.
Yeah, who's same. It's the same thing.
You fight him right before Golmag. It's Gehenna.
The guy that has Vendor Strike.
Exactly. Yeah, he has Shadow Strike.
Yeah.
Well, I remember we had something like 16 weeks in a row that it was the exact same 2 items.
Yeah.
It was Shadow Strike and something else. I think Might Pauldrons. And it was just so angering because it was like, you have to be kidding. This can't be possible. To the point where we figured we were bugged. And I'll never forget the GM ticket where someone sent in the ticket and they were like, the odds of this happening 16 weeks in a row is like 0.00001%. And the GM was like, no, I mean, that's just what happens. It's just RNG. And then he was like, you're more likely to have an asteroid from outer space crash on our planet, and not just crash on our planet, but hit your house out of anywhere else. That's how ridiculous it is. And then GM goes, but that is possible, right? We were like,
wow,
I hate you.
Dude.
And then he did his RP, you know, flittered away, whatever.
Yeah. The worst part, like I remember that. And then I remember as Horde, the worst part was seeing that freaking Paladin set drop, man. And it was just literally useless. And it's like, why is this in the game? Like, don't let the Paladin items drop for Horde and vice versa.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So maybe an important question then is, you know, is there a level of like rose tinted goggles with Classic WoW, or once we start playing, will it be like, dude, this really not the Classic sucks, but like this particular part really sucks. I hate this.
Yeah.
I think there's absolutely rose tinted glasses, but like there is stuff that sucks like that, like what we were just talking about. But I think that's kind of like what, like that's what makes the juice worth the squeeze, if you will. Like you're talking about, retail is just so casual. Like it's so easy. Everything's handed to you. And it's like, in retrospect, like, yeah, it sucked at the time that like, oh man, like I just want my loot. But like you realize that, it makes it that much more satisfying when you do get it. So like, yeah, I think there's things that are going to be annoying that like, certain life things we're going to wish like maybe we're in the game, but that's a slippery slope, I guess. So
I don't think the loot part will be the part we hate. I think there'll be some other aspects of it that we get really annoyed with, and maybe we don't feel like we have enough time now that we're older, something like that. But like I think the loot thing is what makes it better for us, because like, especially when everyone's starting fresh like this, like everyone's starting over and then no one has a head start, none of that. So like every big piece of gear that you get in these first, like, I don't know, even few months, is going to be so much more meaningful, because I mean, very few people in the world have it yet, but we'll see how long it lasts. Like I don't want to be a pessimist and say, Classic's going to die out or whatever, but I do think retail will eventually release more content. And I do think the majority of people who are going to be playing Classic are people who are just bored of current, stale in-game and WoW or something.
Man,
so
I disagree. I feel like it's almost two different demographics. Like
I hope so, because
that
that'll
are
be better for us.
Classic aren't necessarily the people that are even playing retail right now, like me.
Right.
Oh yeah, like I've seen so much interest, just like getting you guys all back together, excited about WoW. That hasn't happened in, probably since Wrath of the Lich King came out. I think it was maybe that's actually
no comment.
One of my favorite memories wasn't even playing WoW, was just visiting Blake and Will in college and seeing Blake playing Wrath of the Lich King. And I hadn't played in years. And I was like, oh my God, this looks amazing.
And I actually wasn't playing either, I don't think, because I remember that being the thing that was like, all right, you know what? I'm getting this too. Like, let's
let's do it, right?
And it was just watching Blake do like basic quests, and they had like added more like flashy elements to the questing. And I was like, wow, this is...
Yeah.
Speaking of watching Blake play WoW, that reminds me of the infamous green screen.
Yeah.
That was in Classic, right? Because that was at your house.
Yeah. So I had this computer that I didn't even know it at the time, but it just had a green tint. I guess it was just a old monitor. And so it was a green tint, and I didn't think anything of it. And then I remember Will and Nate came over, and they're like, dude, what's up with your screen? I was like, what? I'm like, why is it green? And I was like, isn't everyone's screen like that? And it was until I got like a new one that I was like, oh my gosh, what?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
My eyes have been opened.
Mm-hmm.
And this is kind of from a second ago, but did want to say it when you were talking about like how every upgrade feels good, like from rating and stuff. I honestly feel like it is that way throughout all of Classic. Like leveling in retail, like you might have heirlooms and never switch out a piece of gear, but like in Classic, it's like, oh man, this like quest reward from Dead Mines, like I'm so excited about that, and like you'll use that for like 5 or 6 levels, and like I don't know, upgrades even feel good like from 1 all the way to 60,
right?
And I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's accurate for sure. Yeah, definitely. I never did Naxxramas, but I remember through Blackwing Lair. And even through AQ, I remember thinking like it was the same thing as vanilla. Right when Molten Core came out, it was like getting those gear pieces felt really, really good. Those chase items.
Absolutely.
Plus, everybody wanted to walk around Orgrimmar or walk around Ironforge with like
flex
gear. Yeah, flex thing.
Do you guys remember the first time that Onyxia's head was
mounted?
Mounted in Orgrimmar.
Yes.
I actually don't.
And just like the awe of like, what?
Yeah, I remember
crazy.
that.
I remember the first time seeing it, and that was crazy. But I don't know if I was like there for like the server first one or not.
And then they did the same thing with Nefarian. And I guess it's interesting. They don't do stuff like that anymore. But that stuff was always really cool.
Yeah. It truly was. Well, so I guess we could kind of start talking about, that was a glimpse into the past. Let's take it to the future here. Again, 2 days away. We're so close. I was gonna say, what is everyone like most excited about, like to like what part of it are you trying to like recapture the most? Like what excites you the most about the new journey? For
World
me
PvP.
personally,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
go
that's what
ahead.
is. Well, it's twofold. It's one is the social aspects, which is kind of like all encompassing. It's all throughout classic WoW, but just like the people you'll meet just randomly out in the world, or because you needed that healer for dead mines and you spent 30 minutes looking for one, you finally find him, and that guy for the rest all the way to 60 now, because you're like, that guy's a good healer, we're the same level, like I'm really excited for that aspect of it. And then the world PvP, and we could talk about like the phases of classic here in a second, but specifically phase 2, that's what I'm living for right now. Like when honor system is out but battlegrounds aren't yet, like that's just going to be chaos, and I'm so excited.
It's gonna be fun. I do think
explain phase 2 a little bit to me. What is coming out in phase 2?
Well, I guess real quick we can just go over all the phases just so we have this info out there. I'm going to try to share my screen for anybody that is actually watching us. You can just see this. If I can do this real quick. Boomer status. All right, did that work? What do y'all see?
Yeah, I see it. It works.
Okay, so
oh, rad, cool.
This is the classic content plan, and I don't know if this is the most updated one, because I remember seeing some sort of post where Kha'Zix or whatever the guy is on the Blizzard employee that has been talking about classic. This might be him. Yeah, Kha'Zix. I think he might have even posted an updated one, but I couldn't find it. So, all right. So phase 1, we've got, which is just when the game comes out. We've got Molten Core, Onyxia, and Maraudon. Phase 2, which I guess I'm realizing now this doesn't even talk about PvP. But phase 2, I just know this, is when the honor system is being introduced, and as well as Dire Maul, and then like the world bosses, which is like all the all right, I guess it's not all the dragons, just Azurgos.
And Kha'Zix.
Weren't there more?
Kha'Zix is a world PvP boss.
Yeah, but he's not a dragon
though.
Yeah.
No, not dragon.
You're thinking of phase 4. That's listed on there. The green dragons.
Oh, I got it. You're right. Okay. So Azurgos and Kha'Zix, which is the world PvP bosses, which I'm super excited about that, because that's also when they've committed to getting rid of layering, which we haven't even talked about layering. That's like a hot button thing. We could talk on that if we wanted, but just the battles that are going to go down at Azurgos and Kha'Zix are just going to be crazy. I can't wait. Phase 3, though, we've got the next tier of rating, which is Blackwing Lair. And then the Dark Moon Fair, which is always fun. And then I think that's also when Battlegrounds come out. So from phase 2 to phase 3 is just going to be so much world PvP. And I'm hoping that, world PvP doesn't die in phase 3, which I don't think it will, but obviously it's not going to be as prevalent as it was, because a lot of people are going to be in Battlegrounds, because that's like the way more efficient way to farm your honor.
Right.
And then phase 4, we've got ZG, Zolgarub, and then those other world bosses, the green dragons that we were talking about. Phase 5 on Courage, that big event, which I'm really excited about, because like I played during that, but like I didn't really participate in like the opening, and I missed like the actual opening. So like,
oh man, that was fun
at this time. And then finally phase 6, which is Next Ramus. And actually I'm really excited about this, because I also missed the Scourge invasion, and like that sounded so cool with like the zombies invading the cities and stuff. I guess I just wasn't playing when that happened, but yeah, so I think obviously everything's listed here. The only stuff that isn't is the PvP, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure phase 2 honor system, phase 3 Battlegrounds, and that should be about it.
Are they going to release all the Battlegrounds at once?
No, I don't think. I think they're just, it's going to be like it was.
Like Warsong Gulch first.
Yeah, Warsong Gulch and
AV. Did AV start?
Yeah, AV, right? And then Basin came later, I think.
Basin was later for sure, because I was running groups in Warsong and whatever before AV came out. So.
Yeah. So I think that's.
I just remember so many hours spent on Alterac Valley to get the Unstoppable Force.
Oh my gosh.
So much time.
It would knock you down, man. It would knock your enemies down. It was awesome.
So cool.
Was that a PvP reward weapon?
Yeah.
Yeah, from Alterac Valley Reputation, which it was bugged when you did it, right? And by the time I got there, it had been fixed. So I was really depressed. But like,
Yeah, I think I got up to like honored when it was bugged, because it used to be whenever someone died, you could click on their body from any distance. And so I would just stand on a roof and just like max zoom distance and just spam click, because everybody else was clicking too.
Yeah.
But yeah, they fixed it. I think I got to honored maybe.
I do remember Dialogue carrying the Unstoppable Force first, right outside Altark Valley. He was dueling some people. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I remember going to Warsong Gulch with it and being like, oh my gosh.
I remember loaning you the gold to buy it. Dude, real quick side note that Unstoppable Force, but just shamans in general with a big two-hand, back when you could literally one-shot somebody if you got a Red Fury proc.
Try it with the High Warlord weapon and the Hand of Justice trinket. They sometimes give you the fourth attack. Yeah. So and do it on like a mage or a priest sitting down. It was hilarious. You could literally one-shot people. It was so funny.
It really was. Okay, but sorry, that was kind of a tangent talking about the phases. Nate, did you have a question or something about that?
No, I was just kind of curious, like when exactly certain aspects of the game are going to come out.
Yeah, I don't think they've released like an actual timetable for these things, but
right.
It's at least the order.
Like, what do we think? What is everyone's guess? Are we thinking a few months between each one, or
well, I mean, if it was 3 years till BC came out, and Naxxramas came out almost 2 years after Vanilla launched. Vanilla came out in November, I think, and then Nax came out in June or July. It was the summertime, so almost 2 years. So yeah, maybe each phase is about a quarter or 3 months.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I feel like most games have kind of gotten the season rotation thing down to like every 3-ish months, 3 to 4-ish months, so that they can have 3 to 4 seasons a year.
Yeah, I bet phase 2 will come a little bit sooner than that, though.
You think?
The first one, I don't know. I feel like it will.
I bet they'll speed it up if it seems like people are clearing MC in the first month, or however many people. If there's a high percentage of people who are like just going really hard, I bet they might. I don't know. Consider moving up release dates if it's in the books at all.
A lot of the phase releases will be kind of dictated by when there's a lull in content in retail, and they'll try and like space them out in between retail patches to keep kind of interest high for WoW in general.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to be the driving factor. Is I do think that no matter what percentage of classic people are playing that are also retail players, all the big guilds that care way more about their main characters that they've been playing for 17 years, they're going to prioritize all new content in retail over classic. Just because, I mean, everyone's already done the classic content, so it's not as important to be a part of doing some of this, especially after the first phase. After hitting level 60, I don't think many people will be, diehard fans to clear Dire Maul first, or something like that.
I don't know. Think about how much money, what's the guild that's been live streaming all the world firsts on retail?
Oh, Method?
Yeah, Method. And they got so much money from that. I mean, they just finished the latest raid. I mean,
yeah, no, like
I could totally stream classic.
In between retail content, I think you're right. They're going to make money off classic. They're going to be grinding classic and trying to sell raid spots and sell gear to people who can't get in big guilds and do this stuff. So that was never a thing back when we played. We didn't have people who were able to like. You were lucky if you had a guild that can clear the content for themselves, much less, start farming out gear for random people, filling out raid spots for money, So that'll be one difference that I don't think we're going to like. I think that's going to kind of dumb down everybody getting gear faster, whether they paid for it or something. Because, we always made that joke, oh, you bought your character, or back then if you had a lot of gear and you weren't very experienced in the game, we just assumed you bought your character off someone else who did all the work,
Yeah.
Now it can literally be they just literally paid a guild to give them a bunch of gear, So
yeah, well now it's like all these people in their 30s coming back that have like a lot of disposable income and
right.
Yeah.
They value. I know probably most of us value our time a lot more than we did back then,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you'll have a lot of people paying for stuff.
Well, for me, it's like, when I was 14, I could play I could play WoW for like 3 days straight and be like, this was awesome. But now if I'm like playing a game for like more than 2 hours, I'm like, I feel super guilty. And it's like, I need to go do
Yeah,
other
You better
things.
get over that because we're going hard next.
I think I can handle 2 or 3 hours pretty easily. But if I was to game for 3 days straight, not on like a special occasion, like release of classic or whatever, I feel you on that.
I think it's because my wife's like, she's like, so what are we doing now? And I'm like, nothing. Go entertain yourself. I don't know.
Yeah. One quick question I have right now is I guess was Maraudon not in the game originally? Because like I'm wondering why it's even listed like with Molten Core and Onyxia. Like that was like a level 30 to 40 dungeon, but was that like something that didn't come out at launch and was like released?
I think it was released.
That's a great dungeon, by the way. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
Nate, did you ever do that one?
No, I actually was going to ask you guys what exactly Mordon is.
Bro, I cannot wait to do that.
It was a lot like Scarlet Monastery in the sense of like the sense of scale. Like it was just a massive, and there were multiple entrances. Wasn't there a secret entrance or like a faster entrance once you had beaten it or something?
Yes.
Or
You had to do certain stuff to be able to do it, but you got this item, the Staff of Cerberus or whatever, that you could create a portal, and anyone could click it if they're in your party, and it would basically transport you to like the middle of the dungeon, essentially.
Oh, wow.
Added in patch 1.2, Maraudon was the first dungeon to be added after the release of World of Warcraft.
Cool.
So
that's something I was going to bring up back to your question about what we're most excited for Classic is obviously like what Chris was saying, that we're playing Alliance this time and it's all going to be fresh. Like I never played an Alliance character in vanilla, but also just the leveling process. It's so much like, a game unto itself, unlike retail is now. It's like leveling is a huge part of the game, and just to like experience that whole process with a group of friends, I think that's what I'm most excited for, especially when you throw in world PvP and just like all the shenanigans that are going to happen with a fresh server and like a ton of new players and all this stuff. I think it's just going to be the first like 2 months of Classic are going to be pretty amazing.
The nostalgia is going to hit us hard, I feel like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially like like in a leveling dungeons, like there's gear that you can get in like level 40 dungeons that'll carry you for like 10 15 levels, that sort of thing, that are just like super hype moments. It won't happen to everybody, but I just am looking forward to those messages where like somebody's like, dude, I got XYZ, like exclamation point,
Yeah.
Just all that stuff is going to be fantastic.
I want that Molten Core sword. Will, since you told me about it, I don't know how I never even knew this thing existed until you told me, and I was like, what?
I had forgotten about it and then was reminded, and I think maybe even Ian Marak had it.
I can't believe I never had even seen it before.
What is this sword?
It's some sword off Ragnaros that's like insane, but it's like as rare as the legendary Eye of Sulfurous that you need for the hammer.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's like a rare Ragnaros drop, and it's actually it's better than Sulfurous for humans because of I think that's why is because of human
the
swords
sword.
effect. So it's a really cool weapon. It looks cool too. It's got like this dark like kind of glow, like an enchant glow, but it just has it on the weapon itself.
So what I was just thinking about this. What professions are you guys going to go?
Well, real quick, what are you most excited about? Unless, did I miss that? Did you already say?
Oh, no. For me, this is going to make me sound like a huge douche, but going to the Barrens and just ganking people.
Oh, I can't wait. What level should we go? Like, what should we be we want to be a little bit higher.
I think like 15 or 16 or something.
15, bro. I was thinking like 25.
Oh, that's a little high.
But I'm thinking like level 20s there, though. They're going to crush us.
Yeah, I guess Southern Barrens. Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I guess like 20, maybe 25.
20, 25.
But I just like the idea of like, it's like this duelingness of like, oh, we're getting the Alliance are here, and it's like, you're calling in your friends, and then you're also trying to escape.
Like faction war.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, Like I that's one of my more vivid memories from vanilla was just like the giant death ball of alliance players that would show up in ratchet and then slowly make their way to the crossroads, and then a
Yeah.
bunch of horde players would show up and the death ball would get like slowly pushed all the way back to ratchet
Yeah.
Yeah.
and back and forth for like days on end.
And then I love in-game content. I mean, I love doing instances. I love raiding. I love all that PvE stuff. And I never really liked Warsong Gulch that much, but I really like Arathi Basin, so I'm excited to do that one too.
Yeah,
There
me
you
too.
are.
Is the Rathi Basin the one
I-
with like 4 different like capturing nodes that you have to
Yes.
get?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
5, but yeah.
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 The blacksmith, the lumber mill, the farm,
Yeah,
the
okay.
stables, the mines. Yeah. I wanted to add one more thing real quick. I have, I guess, and I just kind of realized this as we were talking. I never got to do the like exciting level. Like, I just realized, I was starting out when you guys were 40, so I was never in the rush of the brand new server being created. Like we're going to get to do here in 2 days, And so that's why I think I've actually, and I don't know if I'm ashamed of this or not, but I've actually played every single expansion that WoW has released. I mean, never for very long, obviously, because I would always, but me and Blake I think countless times we'd start a new expansion and we'd get to end game well before some guilds on the server were getting there. We would, form groups that were doing, better than most of the organized guilds on the server. Blake being an awesome raid leader and me with the damage. But so yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about too, aside from World PvP, is I like that I'm going to be one of the first people to the in-game scene. Me and Will
You are, huh?
me and Will have
level.
talked about this. I don't want to speed level per se, because we're gonna have some fun ganking World PvP as we're leveling up, that kind of thing. I don't want to rush it too much, but I feel like I am, with my time off that I'm gonna spend playing whatever. I'm gonna try and be efficient if we can, as far as making sure we're progressing in the leveling scene too. I think that's why I've played every expansion since and right at launch, because I always like that first rush of everybody trying to get there first. It's fun. It's fun being part of it.
New economy, all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. You know. So
Devil Soul Mafia.
You want to talk about our professions? Is that what you asked next?
Yeah, so we could we might as well just talk about well, I guess right before that we could talk about name day and stuff, and just like our experience
Oh man,
trying to pick a server over the last 2 weeks or whatever, and then name day. So we basically only came to a decision on a server like 2 days ago, essentially. There are a lot of different schools of thought amongst our group of friends on what we wanted to do, between RP, PvP, regular. We were going to do PvP no matter what. But then it came down to RP, PvP, or regular. And this was before we even knew if they were going to have an RP realm, which they did. But then they announced it was West Coast, which, who knows how big of a difference that would actually make. But that turned some of us off. And once we crossed that bridge, it was then, all right, which of these East Coast PvP servers do we want? And me personally, like, I'm probably in the minority here, but like I wanted to play on the streamer server, which was a big to do about like, people they're vehemently wanting to not be on that server, or obviously, all the fanboys and stuff that do want to be on it. Me personally, I'm not a fanboy, but I just think that it would be really cool to like be on a server that has all these like events that the streamers are going to do and stuff. And I also feel like it's kind of server health insurance, because I don't think any of the classic servers are going to die, but obviously that one would be pretty robust in terms of always having a high population. But I was in the minority on that one as well, so then we just basically had to pick between the non-streamer Eastern PvP servers, and we ultimately chose Herod, which leads us name day. Which, I mean, I guess it just goes to show like how crazy this launch is going to be, because we were all ready, like logged in already, staring at the server list, like red times. kind of goading each other into like logging out and logging back in to see if that would work or if we could just wait on that list and see if it would refresh. But as soon as it did, we all clicked it, and I don't think none of us got in immediately, right?
Mm-mm.
I think
I got in last, and
Yeah, we got
after
in
getting
first.
disconnected like 5 times.
Oh yeah. So it was just crazy. I guess was I the first one to get in?
Yeah, you were. I
So
was second.
I got in a queue that was like 10,000 people, and I was the first. Yeah, Blake, what happened with you again? You got like DC'd?
I think what happened, so I was stuck on connecting for maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, and then it DC'd me, and then it would put me in a queue. I'd get all the way down to like the end of the queue, and instead of entering me into the world or the creation page, it would then just disconnect me. And I think what was so frustrating was I had my second account also trying to log in on that one, and it wasn't working there either. So I was 0 for 2 on 2 different accounts.
Bro, and then so I was the first one to get in, and I had like a list of maybe like 12 to 15 names. None of them were there. And so I started trying other people's names, all gone. Literally between the 4 of us, I don't think any of us got a single of like the name we were going for.
You got one name for me.
On Herod?
On Herod. You got me one.
You got Solace, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I did get one.
And I guess I got Cynic, but that's only because Daniel got it for me and I didn't know that.
I wonder how he got it.
I have no idea.
But it was just crazy. And so like hopefully Blizz like took that, and I mean I'm sure they did, kind of adjusted, and they've since launched new servers and stuff. But
I mean they've basically doubled the servers, right? From what were there when they first.
That's crazy.
And but what was also crazy is that like this didn't happen to me, but once you did finally get in, didn't it put you not on Herod? Like you were on the wrong server?
Yeah, it did it to me twice. It automatically moved me. It actually moved me one time. It moved me to an Oceania realm. And so I was like, oh, I got my name. Then I was like, wait, what server is this? But then what was frustrating was getting back on Herod. I was at my name limit. And so I had to get back on those servers to delete. Yeah. So
it
was bad.
It was a mess for how prepared we felt like we were.
Like
we thought for sure this wasn't going to be an issue because we were ready for it. And surely there's a lot of people who weren't subbed early just to reserve a name for Classic. There was a lot of things going in our favor for getting our names, and we got none of them.
Yeah. It's because all the cards basically fell that were of the Eastern PvP servers. Herod was like the one everyone wanted to roll on because it wasn't the streamer server, it wasn't the Brazilian server, it wasn't the Latin America server or whatever.
And that streamer happened to mention publicly that I think people were trying to deem Herod the classic, authentic, server vanilla experience.
Yeah, he just meant that like it won't have the streamer presence.
Right.
More of the But I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, so we were on this server. We couldn't get any of our names. We basically went through the 5 stages of grief, and ultimately we're coming down to the point where we were going to be those guys that have like the special characters in your names. We're like, we're going to be our names. We'll just have come to find out, it's called a diareses, I think. I don't know how you say it. It's like the double dots above the letter. So we were going to do that. But then that's when Blizz started announcing they were going to open new servers. So we decided, let's avoid the several hour queues according to them. And so we originally were going to do Stalag, but then that one filled up and they opened new ones. And so now we've switched to Skyrim, and I think we're going to stay there.
And we all got our dream names.
Yeah, literally everyone got their name except me, which throwback to the beginning of this podcast when I said I don't know what I'm going to be. That's why. So I'm still trying to figure that out. And if somehow somebody that's listening to this has the name Evade on Skyrim, please let me have it. I will.
Don't do it.
Hey, I'll shout you out on this very popular.
Thousands of listeners.
Exactly.
There's dozens of us.
I know my girlfriend's going to listen after we finish. So.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
My wife is definitely not going to listen.
I lucked out. I have like the best girlfriend ever. She's in full support of launch week. She's
gross.
Yeah. Right.
Love. Ooh. My wife and I just have contempt.
So we are Skyrim boys, and again in the future, this podcast will be obviously it hasn't launched yet, right? So when it does, we're going to be talking about like our adventures and leveling and blah, 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 blah. But, we will be talking about the drama on Skyrim. So, please tune in. But now that we've arrived here, I guess let's talk about what exactly we're playing and, like the professions and everything. I guess I can start us off. I'm going to be a rogue, and for the life of me, hardest decision I've had to make in my life. I cannot choose between dwarf and human. My friends are probably really tired of me talking about this, but I still can't. And if we do somehow have like some listeners out there, like I'm going to put a link to like a straw poll and please vote.
If you make another straw poll,
I've already made like 3.
You're not allowed to be either one if you make another straw poll.
Yeah, you have to be druid. I mean, sorry, night elf rogue.
Night elf rogue, yeah.
Edgelord. So I can't pick. But
that has to be your name too.
I'm dude. It's probably taken.
Dude, Edgelord's actually a pretty good name.
It actually is.
But so I'm gonna be a rogue. Don't know if I'm gonna be dwarf or human. Stone form. PvP is what I'm most interested in. Stone form's obviously the best, probably for a rogue. So I want to do that, but humans just look so much cooler, and sword spec OP. But so rogue, I'm thinking mining, engineering for my professions. What about you guys?
I'm also going to be a rogue, dwarf. Me and Will are going to be doing some shenanigans with as stealthy boys. I think me and Will actually talked about this to maximize profits and leveling up professions and stuff. I think I'm going to take up skinning and then engineering, and maybe we can make some money off of the skinning while we level up our engineering very, very, very slowly.
Yeah.
So
gotta get that mount somehow, man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we got to make some money. I mean, honestly, I think that's one thing about Classic. Like, second to leveling up, making currency, making money in that game is a huge part of it. Like there are so many things that are an obstacle for that just cost money. Getting your mount, buying all your skills to upgrade your skills. You have to make money to get more powerful in the game. So,
gosh, that's such a cool dynamic, man. I wish retail had something like that. It's what gets me excited about like new Path of Exile leagues, because the economy resets and you're just like, ooh, this is good.
I wonder how, like, obviously it's a fresh economy, right? But I feel like it's going to be a lot different than vanilla because, like, again, it's a solved equation. So you're going to have all these people that like know how, like, what to do and how to manipulate things. And it's just going to be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the effect of that is going to be, but like, I just feel like it'll be different in that way because so many people are going to be way more people than back then are going to be like trying to game the auction house.
I wonder how big of a population are going to be people who have never played WoW and jumping into Classic for the first time. You think there's a lot of people out there like that? Surely younger kids, right?
I think there's a lot, but it's still like a minority. But yeah, I think there probably will be a lot. Like, I'm getting Brian to play for the first time ever.
Oh, is he playing
really?
for sure?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
Who knows? He like works. He doesn't have like any free time. So like, I don't know how much he'll actually get into it, but
right.
Gonna try it.
Wow. It feels like it's going to be harder to play the auction house because, like, I like how you described it. It's a solved equation. I mean, people, it, and there's also going to be tons of players. And so it makes me wonder if the route is, if it's going to be too challenging for the average Joe to play the auction house, and if instead you need to have a gathering profession, or I don't know.
I think you're right, actually. I think it is going to be a lot tougher because back then, you got to think about it. We didn't know the drop rates of everything. We didn't know how rare things were. So, like, the prices were constantly fluctuating just based on how often you saw it on the auction house, until Thoughtbot started collecting data and giving drop rates and all that stuff. Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. I'll never forget typing in a quest name into Thoughtbot to figure out what the heck to do because I think a lot of people are really excited for no quest help or no arrows to point you in the direction you need to go. It's just full on exploration and, whatever. I mean, obviously people who have leveled before know most of the quests, so they don't necessarily have to do that exploration to find it out now. But your solve equation thing just kind of ruins another element of Classic that I think a lot of us are excited about. Is just kind of not the hand holding that we've had in retail for so long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, do you really remember?
No, and
Stuff
like I
from
said,
quests?
I personally got like, rushed to 60 on the Alliance side. So I don't remember. I didn't do any of the Alliance stuff like leveling up. I'm excited to see that whole side of Azeroth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I've
didn't-
only ever seen like the quote unquote like starting zones, like Dun Moreau and Westfall and a few of those. Like I haven't done anything above like level 20 in vanilla Alliance content.
How far
Boy,
did
you
you
are in
get
for a treat.
in Horde?
Um,
What level is your max?
Yeah,
I was in what is that, like a Desolus where it's like all gray and like an empty.
where
It
Rex
was like
Stars roaming around.
yeah. Like level 38, I think, was as high as I got.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Um,
right. It's like 35.
You never even got
45.
your mount.
Yeah, I think back then it felt so slow to me, and you guys were already in game, and I was just like, "Oh, I have this huge slog by myself ahead of me, and I just kind of burned out because it was right when I was, I think, in freshman year of college, and just didn't have the free time.
Isn't it something like level 1 to 50 is like the same time from 50 to 60, or like 1 to 45 or something like that?
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
I hope
and
so.
it changes, so
I'm
there's
excited
like
about that.
you just have to grind mobs at a certain point because there's just not enough quests
Yeah,
or something
Yeah.
like that.
not
Yeah.
necessarily like that part of it, but I do like
Yeah.
how much experience it took.
Well, that's honestly one of my favorite things about vanilla specifically is like it's just such a good like chill out, grind some mobs, put on a podcast kind of game where you're just like it's
I actually have a question on that exact thing.
oh yeah, go for it.
I mean, no, just keep going. I was just
Well, I guess going back to what character and professions we're going to play is like I'm interested mostly since we're going to be like leveling together. I want to play a class that can kind of participate in all the activities that we want to do. And you guys are going rogue, and I thought it would be fun to go druid so I can, stealth with you guys and also like throw some heals on. And so while we're leveling together, like it will just be that much more user friendly and convenient because we won't have to slow down since I'll be healing you guys. And so I'm excited basically just to jump on a druid. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go druid.
Oh,
And,
okay. I was gonna say this is a reveal here, folks. He's been trying to pick.
The other thing that I've, obviously I played a hunter as my first character, and I just love the class fantasy of hunter. So that's always like, like maybe I should just roll like, where my heart's at.
Here we go.
This will happen at level 10.
Yeah,
You know what?
yeah. And again at level 20 when he rerolls the second character after he's bought you dinner.
That's the thing is like there's like two kind of mentalities with classic for me. There's sort of like the guy who's been watching all these like best class videos, like hour-long, breakdowns of characters and top specs and all this stuff. And then the other half of me that just kind of wants to chill out and just enjoy the ride and play a hunter and do like leather working and just kind of, super, laid back leveling experience. So there's like two completely different like approaches to take for me.
Quick question:
Like,
do hunters not switch to mail at level 40?
They do.
They do.
Oh, okay.
But I'm
But
pretty
it
sure
was
leatherworking also in the higher ranks. Like, can't you like make some mail stuff?
Dragon skill.
oh yeah.
I had it on my
right.
shaman.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
awesome, dude. Because you had the scales of every kind of dragon in the game,
Yeah.
like green scales, blue scales.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just lost my train of thought.
And there's a lot of like pre molten core gear that you can make as a leather worker that sells really well.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
that's what I was gonna say. A lot of rogue stuff for me and Chris, best in slot is from leatherworking.
At least two pieces, right? I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If I roll druid though, I would really want to have like engineering, just because like druid PvP relies so much on having those engineering cooldowns.
Well, you can have both. You just would like at some point like have skinning all the way to 60 and then like skin a bunch and then
Yeah.
you could drop it. And obviously you're still going to need to buy mats after that, but
Yeah.
It's doable. You could do engineering, leatherworking.
It will suck not having a healer though if you end up going hunter. No
well,
pressure.
that's my third option is priest.
Yeah,
Don't-
dude. Shadow
don't-
priests are amazing.
Don't go
Yeah.
hunter because we don't want to all compete with you for weapons.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah, hunters took every kind of weapon, right?
Yeah, it's
And
a
that's the
hunter.
other. That's the other thing about going hunter is if we're like doing dungeons together, there's just so many things that can go wrong as a hunter, like accidentally aggroing.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Not dismissing your pet when you jump
Yeah.
off the cliff.
Yeah, there's so much. There's that whole meme of the huntard, right? For a reason.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to be that guy.
Well, dude, you should just
You should do what you want.
Do what you want. Do what
Yeah.
you think sounds fun.
But don't do it if it's
Fine.
hunter.
Do what you want, but don't roll hunter and do everything that we need you to do.
Yeah. Do what we tell you.
All right, sounds good.
So you're leaning druid, though. Is that what I'm hearing?
I was most excited about you playing druid. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
not that it means anything to your choice. I thought it was going to be really cool us stealthing around and like people thinking Blake's alone, and then all of a sudden, he's got a full party with him. You know?
Yeah, that
We
would
just
be
come
cool.
out of nowhere.
We got Blake sitting there as bait.
Yeah, he's like a rage bait.
Yeah, Blake, you're going warrior, right?
I am also going rogue. And
Oh, really?
Big reveal here, guys.
no, I'm just kidding. I just thought I'd throw back some flavor from when we were all shamans. Yeah, I am going a human warrior named Rage. And either it's going to be
Badass name.
miserable. Yeah, either it's going to be miserable being the only unstealth person, or it's just going to be like amazing bait and super fun.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna be fun for sure because we can stun people off you like endlessly.
Yeah.
Like,
And we'll obviously
Yeah.
probably also have other people with us. You know what I mean? So like, you probably
least-
won't be the
at
only
least like
one.
fifth member for like dungeons and stuff probably that we'll pick up along the way. If
Like
one of
a
you lucky
coffee or
viewers, end up.
Blake,
That would be
I've
cool,
read
like,
that
if we did have people that actually listen, like I'd totally be down to like bring.
Yeah,
them.
of course. Why not? Unless
If
they're
they pay us.
and they can't be awful.
Oh yeah, we should absolutely post this to the Scarum subreddit after.
Yeah, bro. I don't know if you were in the
Or
call
whatever.
yet, but I made a Reddit account.
Oh yeah.
60. Keep an eye out.
Look out for that.
Is there there is a subreddit, right? Already. I'll
Mhm.
look to the
Yeah,
end.
there's a subreddit, Discord, all that good stuff.
Man, I'm excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
So we've got
Me too.
Mayhem, the dwarf rogue, potentially human,
Maybe we'll see.
Rage, the human warrior, and then what? Have you still up in the air on your name, Nate?
I was gonna like kind of see what you guys thought. Obviously, I have sound for druid, but I also picked up the name Exile, which I think is pretty dope for a druid.
Nice.
Obviously, the path of exile love is strong with me.
I think
And
those are both
then-
really cool.
And then also there's the third option of Torchlight.
I like that name too.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
out
like-
of those
I like
three,
Torchlight.
yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Exile as my top pick, just because it's so, it's kind of like
We-
evade in terms of just like that strong, single word name.
Too soon. We
I like all those a lot.
I do too. We should take a vote though. I think I'm gonna vote sound.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So are all of us going engineering?
Probably. To be honest,
feel
if you're gonna PvP, engineering's
You're gonna
pretty
wanna
strong.
have it.
Yeah, world
Yeah.
PvP and engineering is like the go-to profession.
I'm probably going to be miserable because I'm not going to do a gathering. I'm going to do blacksmithing and engineering.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
Oh,
buy
but
everything.
You might as well take mining like until 60, right?
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know, maybe not.
It really is really going to come down to how scarce the nodes are, how much you're actually going to get. Will, like you mentioned, like if you're even going to be able to level up your mining as you're leveling, if you pass that threshold, and you get to the zone where you can't mine anything anymore, are you going to go back and farm that stuff to get high enough skill level to keep farming as you level? Or are you going to, wait until you get 60 or whatever and go back and farm it all, or just buy it off the auction house? That those choices are going to have to be made at some point, which is, makes it even more fun, just which route you end up going to whether or not you make a lot of money off of gathering professions or you focus on leveling your primary professions up as fast as possible, that kind of thing.
The good news is I don't think it'll be too expensive just because there's only one auction house, even though we're going to maybe have all these layers, but we're going to have like 10 times at least the amount of people that like
True.
we were used to back in vanilla. So like 10 times the amount of miners, like there's going to be a lot of supply, I guess is what I'm saying.
You're going to have more demand though, too.
True.
So I honestly think it'll probably be pretty close, you know, in terms of
Yeah. I just mean it won't
pricing
be crazy
and
expensive.
right. Yeah. Maybe the in-game stuff will be at first because
Right,
very
right.
few people are there. You know, I think a lot. Like I said, I hope that the majority of the player base is like kind of like us, just the older, mature players that played before. You know, just wanting to kind of nostalgically experience it all again. You know, but
Yeah,
if that's not the case, then we'll.
would it be crazy to go double gatherer and just make a ton of
No.
money early on?
Not at all.
You know, while the prices are probably still high, and then buy your way back into a profession you want at 60? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
Honestly, I agree with that. Is there something in Classic where like if you have two gathering professions, you can't track both though on the minimap, so you can't.
yeah, but like,
That might be true.
yeah, but
Yeah.
if you took like, you could take skinning and
right.
one.
Yeah. So yeah, if it looks like we're not even really going to be getting many materials, you know, early on through just one of us having mining.
Yeah,
maybe.
for all mining, then.
Yeah, it just depends.
Well, only I am so far, right?
Yeah.
Silence.
I was thinking of doing. I was thinking mining and herbalism would be
Okay.
cool.
Well, I mean, at the very least, we just trade off so we each get a skill point, and then at the
Yeah.
end of our session, we'll just split whatever we have or whatever.
Yeah, I'm
You
gonna
only
look.
got.
I want to look at the things you can make from engineering, like while you're leveling, and if any of that is actually useful and something that we think we're going to want to use, then yeah, I'll probably stick with engineering. But otherwise, you know, Blake might be right. It might be better to pick up two gathering / money making professions at first, and then go back and you know save the materials you get from that to level up something later.
And make a lot of bank alts.
Right? Yeah, you're not gonna have inventory space. Yeah,
Bro, that's gonna be the worst part about initially
It is.
starting is not being lucky and not looting any like 6-slot bags off like the initial mobs and just that's the worst part.
yeah. It does when you start having to like.
Yeah, we need somebody to go tailoring now.
Actually,
That's actually
now that you mention
not
it,
a bad idea.
yeah.
Make
Bags
some
are probably
early
gonna be
cash off
pricey.
For
selling
sure.
bags.
Make bank off that because I mean cloth is pretty easy to get. It drops off like every mob almost. Or every human.
humanoids?
Yeah, I guess humanoid.
That's going to be valuable too, because getting first aid to 300 is going to be really important.
Oh yeah. Bandaging's like #1 source of healing in PvP, world PvP. So yeah, some
Now I'm
room
torn
cloth
again.
bandages.
Well, you got 2 days to figure it out. I can't believe it's so close. I remember being like 5-6 months ago, which I mean years ago even, but like when we really started like gearing up the hype, or at least I did, was like 6 months ago, and I was like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's almost here.
Yeah, I'm so hyped for just that those things that can only happen on a highly populated server. Like we were playing the vanilla server and you maybe see like one
yeah,
no
ghost town.
run by and you can't interact with them at all because there's no PvP or anything like that.
yeah. Huh.
So wait, so you said in phase 2 they're releasing like the world PvP honor system, but
Yeah.
obviously there's world PvP before that, right?
Right. There's just no
Yeah.
honor, which
Yeah.
that's going to be great too. But obviously, when the honor system comes out, like way more
Yeah.
people are going to get involved, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
Which also means dishonorable kills, but that's not that big of a deal.
No.
I forgot about that. What was that?
It's like if you killed somebody that was like way lower than you, you don't get any honor, and you might even get penalized for it. I don't remember. Chris, you probably know.
I can't remember. It would always happen if you raided like a city, like Stormwind or something. You'd end up killing something that would give you a dishonorable kill.
Yeah,
And
if it was like a gray level to you, you know, like the red, yellow, gray scale or whatever, then it was dishonorable.
But I don't know if it was the level thing because I feel like just one AoE spell at level 60 could kill like a level 20 or level 15 or something, and you'd get a dishonorable kill just by accident, you know? Like
Right, but they would be a gray level.
True. Yeah, you're right. I don't remember. I really don't remember how they worked. I remember they were annoying. But
Looks
so
like it's
excited for
from killing opposing faction civilians.
yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, that
I
too
knew
good.
it. It was
But isn't it also players?
I don't think
Low-level
so.
players?
I really don't think so. I think it was
This
just
says,
civilians.
this says it was added to the game to stop high-level players from camping quest NPCs or vendors without penalties.
Right.
And
Interesting.
it could lower your PvP rank.
Yep. It was very, very frustrating. It pretty much stopped people from raiding cities if they cared about their rank. If they didn't care about the rank, they'd do it anyway. They didn't care, But if you cared about your rank, you'd pretty much not participate in a raid of the city. I don't know why
There's only certain NPCs, right?
Yeah, but it seemed like when you raid a city, you kill everything. Like you wipe out every single mob that gets aggroed, and so.
Yeah, it says here that many complaints were raised due to the fact that it completely destroyed town and city raiding. One dishonorable kill could completely destroy a week of work for a high-ranked player.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. 1 week of that is like a year off your life.
Wow.
I hope I run into some people who did some of that grinding with me back in the day. I mean,
like specific people, or just people that also did that?
Well, people who maybe joined my group, a couple times or a lot.
Have you talked to any of them? Are they like rolling on Scarum?
There are no. I don't think anyone that we know is rolling on Scarum. There's some people on Herod, and that's all I know of. Actually, it's just some more Herod people. So.
Well, since we're getting so close, I was just going to ask, like, what's, I mean, obviously we've kind of talked about this together, but in terms of broadcasting it out there, what's the plan for launch? Like, what's everyone thinking we're going to do? Like, so if we roll dwarves, then we're basically all going to be in different areas, because Chris and I are going to be in Dunmoreau, Blake will be in Elwyn, and Nate will be in Teldrassil. Like, where should we meet up?
So I could very easily take the tram up to Dunmoreau. The question is like longevity. So Lochmadon's a really great questing area. I've never known where to go after that. Whereas with the Stormwind side, you have Westfall, which is really awesome, Red Ridge, which is really awesome, Duskwood, which is okay. I don't know if we would stay there or not, but
I like Duskwood, just like thematically.
Yeah, I've never actually done very much questing there, because I always ended up going somewhere else. But
oh, you haven't?
I think I ended up going to is it like Northern Stranglethorn Vale, like around that
level? I'm not going there, but yeah, you're right.
We got to go there. That's where that's going to be Crossroads 2.0.
15 levels over.
Oh man,
bro, that's going to be a bloodbath.
Stranglethorn Vale is going to be bad.
But so,
like, I think I'm going to do the Night Elf areas until I get to Darkshore, and then meet up with you guys wherever y'all are. Because I do not want to do Darkshore. It's the equivalent of like Westfall. It's like 10 to 15, something like that.
I want to do Westfall, because I want to do like get the Deadmines quest and stuff, because I think there's a really good sword from that.
And get the Defias stuff, dude. That stuff was
dude,
so
I gotta
good.
get that as a rogue, the Defias headband or whatever. Yeah,
and also the cutlasses are really good to dual wield too.
Oh yeah, it's like the thief blade or like outlaw blade or something, I think. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll figure it out, and I guess it also depends on what I end up picking, because then there might be 2 of us in Elwyn, or even 3 of us. But so more of on a meta sense, what's your plan for launch? Like how the launch is at 5, right?
Step 1 is to get in the server.
Right.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
I'm definitely gonna do a Walmart run. I told my wife I'm gone for like at least the first full week.
Yeah.
Until that Friday where I'm out of town. I have a Tuesday morning meeting I have not been able to reschedule.
Bro.
So that's the only thing that's like the big hiccup. But it's going to be while you're still asleep. I mean, it's going to be at 7 a.m.
It's going to be when I'm sleeping. It's going to be when I'm still playing, dog.
It's going to be at 7 a.m. and then I actually have another meeting at 9 o'clock as well.
So when will you be done?
That one's over. It's only like a 30-minute meeting. So like 9:30 to 9:45, I'm done.
Okay.
So 7
Yeah.
to 9:45 that morning.
Okay. Well, so let's just jump into that Walmart run real quick because we're going together. Newsflash. I think, Chris, you coming too?
What time are y'all going?
Well, we could either go today or we could go. We also have a bro date for Sunday, the day before Classic. We're going to go to CC's Pizza. It used to be a thing we did. We haven't been in a long time. So we're going to celebrate with a little buffet. So we could go after that, or we could go today after this. So whatever works better for everybody.
My ideal time would be like after dinner sometime Sunday for Walmart. I'm gonna be in Rogers climbing with the Gammons and then doing sushi in Rogers too, and then we're coming back here and I can do Walmart after that.
We could probably figure this out maybe off the podcast because it's probably a little less interesting for listeners on when we're going and figure all that out.
Will wanted to talk
I
about the
disagree.
Walmart
I
run.
think everything about my life is very interesting. But fair enough. But so I guess all three of us is the answer I got there is we're going to go to Walmart.
Shoot for 9:00 Sunday.
Like what's the game fuel? What's the snacks?
Double stuffed Oreos.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah. Cheez-Its. Big
Jesus,
kind.
for sure.
I
Thin
love
kind?
no thick kind, like the
Oh,
big kind.
What are thick kind?
No, just like the big
Plastic.
square.
Oh, big kind. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm getting the kettle lay chips jalapeno style.
Yeah, I love me some kettle chips. I don't think I've ever had those though.
Some Diet Sunkist.
Oh yeah.
And probably just like power food. I don't know what though. Like something that keeps me from
kale, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like
Some
something
protein bars or something?
Yeah, like protein bars or something so I don't, take years off my life or something.
Actually
Yeah.
take care of your body.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Probably
whoa,
a jug of water.
whoa.
I don't know.
Yeah. I've got I'm house sitting for my parents right now, so because they are, horribly addicted to Diet Coke, there's literally just like a shelf in the garage just full of Diet Coke waiting to be refrigerated, and just a pantry full of snacks already. So
Nice.
I'm set. Got my favorite chip is the Juanita's tortilla chips. They're just like by far the best tortilla chips in the world.
Never had
And
them.
got like three different dips in the fridge ready to go.
Ooh, nice.
So I'm kind of set already.
Is anyone thinking about doing like energy drinks? Like I haven't done those in a while, but
I mean, if Diet Coke counts,
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
okay.
I don't want to die.
You don't want to die? Chris, what about you?
The Oreos were a must, obviously. That's my staple. I really don't. I probably will get some like protein like bars. I do a lot of food prepping now in general to eat what I eat through the week. So I'll probably kind of do my general routine for breakfast and lunch. Like a bagel, quick bagel, and a smoothie with some granola or something for lunch. And then the snack foods and stuff I'm gonna get, I have no idea. You guys might probably give me ideas while we're there.
I'm definitely gonna have to like be inspired when we're there. I
Right.
guess if we end up going after we go to CC's, that'll probably be good because we'll all be really grossly full. But I'm definitely, you gotta go with the Oreos, like you guys said. I really liked everything Blake said, and I might just get all of that. But I had something else. Oh yeah, I love the I love Cheetos. Not to be like the typical like gamer guy, but probably gonna get some of those because I haven't had them in a long time. And
Are we talking crunchy or puffy?
just normal, like crunchy, regular. I mean,
Oh,
puffy
yeah.
are good.
Did I not
But-
say Cheeto Puffs? Because that's definitely on my list. For sure.
No, you didn't. Cheeto puff.
Cheeto.
You going with the
Yeah.
puffs too?
Oh yeah, I have like the same 5 things that Joy always gets me for like gamer fuel.
Okay.
So
Nice.
probably some coffee too. I'll get some Onyx coffee.
Yeah, I think I get some
Mm.
coffee.
One nice thing about being older is we've already figured out all this stuff. Back
Bros, should we also get like I don't know necessarily when in terms of the launch experience, but like, should we get some brews and have like maybe when we go to Crossroads, have like a brews and Crossroads night or something?
I
That's a
love
great
that
idea.
idea.
That is a
Nice.
fantastic idea.
Amazing. We should like I don't know how fast we'll get through stuff, so we can't really plan it. But we should like have themed nights where we do like a world PvP somewhere, or we raid one dungeon all night long, or whatever.
Drunk,
Just
drunk PvP.
yeah, exactly.
I love
Perfect. Perfect.
it. So my parents are out of town until the first week of September. So from launch until like September 4th, I just have nothing to do but take care of the dogs and play Classic.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be going hard during that time frame, and then I'm gonna miss like 3 or 4 days because I have to drive home to Arkansas.
Right.
So you guys might get way ahead of me at that point, but we'll see.
So what exactly day like do you start coming back?
I don't know. I don't have an exact, but it's gonna be like September 3rd, 4th, something like that.
That's like in the middle of the week, so yeah, if like you have a choice, try and get back before the weekend,
And then go hard on the weekend. That's a good idea.
Because I gotta work all next week or the week after launch, like after Labor Day. So I'll have to slow down.
Should mention
quite a
that in
bit.
terms of planning. Chris and I both took off next week, so gonna go ham.
I'm good after Tuesday.
Blake's good after Tuesday, and Nate,
Well,
like he said, is house sitting. So we're
and then
basically
I'm
all
out
gonna
of-
be going pretty hard.
And then I'm out of town that weekend, so
I know. Rest in
I know.
peace to that. But like you're gonna be back soon. And I really don't think we're gonna get that far ahead of you since like the more critical part's gonna be that like first 3 days, I think.
yeah. And I'm out of town the next weekend too. So
Where you were. It's okay.
I'll be at my folks
See,
the next weekend.
this is the hard part about it is like we're grown up now. We got responsibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that everyone else that's doing the same thing we're doing is probably going to be going through the same deal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously there's gonna be like the hardcore people, but
Yeah. And I think
There's a spectrum.
honestly, I feel like the hardcore people are the ones that are currently going hardcore in retail. Those are going to be the most of the hardcore people in Classic, I think.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
still think it's two different demographics.
But
There's
I don't
obviously an
I don't
overlap.
think the other demographic that's not hardcore in retail is going to go that hardcore. I think it's going to be more casual.
I think there's definitely a demographic of hardcore players that don't play retail, but like are gonna be going insane on Classic.
So you're saying there's a lot of us? I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think we're a dime a dozen here.
There's
I think there are.
the whole like private server community is pretty huge, right?
Yeah,
That doesn't play retail at all.
right.
And I think Classic is going to have a little bit of a moment where it gets like kind of some mainstream players that don't really play video games at all checking it out, kind of like WoW did originally.
Yeah. I mean, plus just think
Like-
about all like the big streamers that are playing, their whole audiences, like that's probably gonna be the first time a lot of those people experience WoW and they might pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, like,
WoW on Twitch is basically just Classic at this point.
What kind of influx of very young gamers are we going to get to Classic WoW, you think?
I don't know. It's probably a lot of people our
Minecraft.
age like showing their kids.
Right? Like people
You know?
playing with their kids maybe too?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
The day approaches.
So yeah, we covered everything? I feel like everyone's tuned out by now. They're like, when they start talking about Oreos at Walmart, they're
I like that slice of life stuff, man.
we get a couple of Red Baron pizzas too. They're always delicious.
Ooh.
might have to get some stuffy delivered or something.
That's speaking of man,
dude,
just
I bet
wait to do that till I get home.
I bet the pizza companies are gonna make a killing next week.
Probably.
Oh yeah, wasn't it what patch was it where WoW added that like ability to, or no, was it EverQuest that you could like order pizza from within the game?
Oh yeah, I think it was EverQuest.
Yeah,
That's awesome. I didn't know
I forgot about that.
yeah.
That is awesome.
Blizzard needs to bring that out for
Yeah.
Classic and make a killing with like Domino's or something.
It really should. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we didn't really have much of a format here, but we've essentially covered everything I at least thought of, unless either of you have anything else you want to chat about.
I mean, I think that, we'll have a lot more to talk about after those first 2 or 3 days of launch and seeing how everything goes. Like, who knows what's going to happen with the servers and getting into the game and all that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So like, obviously, moving forward, we'll be talking about like what's actually happening in Classic. I know we didn't really do that at all because it's not out yet, obviously. But so you will hear of our adventures and, like I said, just the kind of goings on of Classic as a whole, like, what Blizzard's saying, patches, blah, 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 blah. And then also kind of the more of under a microscope of what's actually going on our server. That's the plans we have for what's the content's going to be on this. But, obviously that could change and evolve as we actually produce it. So we'll see. But that's my best idea for now.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. And I don't know. I guess we don't have to figure this out now, but we can figure out whenever we do want to do the next one. If we want to, do it like a week after launch or a couple days in, or we'll figure it out. But I would like to say in a perfect world, we might put one of these out every week, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we could do it a week from today.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we could shoot for that. Yeah, so I don't know exactly how we're going to put this out, but I'll probably post this on the subreddit, maybe the Discord. If anyone actually does see this, give us a shout. Let us know where you picked it up, and please tell me dwarf or human.
Dwarf. Human.
All right.
All right, sweet.
Alrighty, well,
Thanks, guys.
yeah.